On the map, it looks like a narrow strip of land connecting Europe and Asia. Most people see it as nothing more than a passageway, a bridge between continents. But they're wrong. Türkiye is not a bridge. It's an entire world compressed within a single border. It's as if nature gathered fragments from the farthest edges of the planet and assembled them here like a massive living puzzle. Are you ready for an intercontinental journey within just a few hours? To the north, untouched Black Sea forests, washed by daily rain, resembling the wild coastlines of distant oceans. To the east, high plateaus above the clouds, carrying the frozen silence and raw harshness of Antarctica. In the heartland, endless yellow steppes where time seems to stand still and you can feel the breath of the Sahara on your neck. To the south, the Mediterranean, its deep, radiant blue competing with shades of emerald green. But what truly makes this microplanet unique is not just its geography, it's the way time bends here. Step out of the shadow of a modern skyscraper and suddenly you find yourself standing in the theatre of an ancient city abandoned thousands of years ago. History here is not locked inside museums, it's rooted into mountainsides and coastlines as if it has always belonged there. Walking through this land is not simply travelling through a country, it's a journey across dimensions, from winter to summer, from untouched forests to dusty deserts, from today to long before recorded time. This is not just a country. This is a microplanet with its own rules, its own ecosystem, and its own chaos. And now it's time to descend into its deepest layers. Let's travel to the north of Türkiye to a land of endless rain and towering forests. High on the steep cliffs of Turkey's Black Sea region, about 300 metres above the ground, stands a remarkable structure, the Sumela Monastery. It is a place that is difficult to reach, and one that demands patience even to see. So why did people, thousands of years ago, choose such an extreme location? The site of Sumela was not chosen by chance. It was an ideal place for isolation and protection. For monks seeking silent solitude and a life close to nature, this cliff offered an escape from the noise of the world. The monastery was carved directly into the rock and built gradually over centuries. Inside, there are chapels, monks' quarters, water channels, and shared living spaces. One of its most striking features is the wall paintings, the frescoes. Despite the harsh, humid climate of the Black Sea, many of them have survived to this day. Its height made Sumela not only a spiritual refuge, but also a physically protected sanctuary. Seen from the valley below, it often hides behind thick mist, as if it chooses when to reveal itself. Sumela Monastery is proof that great structures are not built with stone alone, but with patience faith, and harmony with nature. Here, history does not live only in the walls, but in the clouds, the cliffs, and the empty space between them. From the misty valleys of Sumela, we climb even higher, to where the clouds begin to fade. This is the summit of the eastern Black Sea region, the Kackar Mountains. A rugged mountain range, home to the wildest and highest peaks along the Black Sea, rising high enough to race the clouds themselves. Stretching between Rise and Artvin in northeastern Turkey, these mountains reach their highest point at Mount Kackar, standing at 3,937 metres. For most of the year, the air is cool, rainy, and wrapped in mist. This harsh climate feeds a world of lush forests, glacial lakes, and fast-flowing rivers. At higher elevations, alpine meadows spread across the slopes. Below, dense spruce and beech forests blanket the valleys. Brown bears roam these lands. Wild mountain goats cling to the cliffs. Eagles circle silently overhead. The Kackars are also home to some of Turkey's most important glacial valleys and crater lakes, shaped by ice and time. And then there are the highland plateaus, Ida, Elevit, Pokut. Wooden houses rise through the drifting fog. The sound of the tulum, the traditional Black Sea bagpipe, echoes across the hills. The Kackar Mountains are more than a landscape. They are a living story of untamed nature, of the Black Sea's fierce spirit, and of a life shaped where people and wilderness meet. From the peaks of the Kackars, we travel deeper inland, toward the lands where the sun first rises over Türkiye. And suddenly the landscape transforms. Every shade of green fades away, replaced by a blinding white horizon and absolute silence. The moist ocean air is gone. In its place, a sharp, cutting frost. This is the high plateau of eastern Anatolia. Just moments ago, we were walking above the clouds. Now we find ourselves standing on the frozen surface of Lake Chulda. Stretching between Ardahan and Kars, Lake Chulda is one of Turkey's largest freshwater lakes. When winter arrives, its surface freezes into meters-thick ice. Horse-drawn sleighs glide across the frozen expanse while fishermen carve holes into the ice to catch golden carp beneath the surface. And beyond this frozen silence, in Doğu Bayazıt, a stone monument rises among the mountains. Ishak Pasha Palace. Built in the 18th century, this magnificent structure carries the architectural echoes of Ottoman, Seljuk, and Persian design. More than a palace, it feels like a monument carved from time itself. Its courtyards, its ornate gates, and its commanding position on the hillside once watched over ancient trade routes. Today, it stands in quiet defiance facing Mount Ararat. Ishak Pasha Palace is more than stone. It is memory, hardened into architecture. Leaving behind the frozen heights of the east and moving toward the heart of central Anatolia, the landscape begins to detach from reality. An endless golden steppe stretches to the horizon. But in the middle of this vast plain, something unexpected appears. A world that feels almost like a dream. This is Cappadocia. Everything began with fire. Millions of years ago, massive volcanoes rose from the heart of Anatolia and covered this land with ash and lava. Mount Erciyes, Mount Hassan, and Guludar reshaped the region, leaving behind what was once a sea of stone. Time passed. Wind and rain slowly carved into the soft volcanic rock, sculpting the formations we now call fairy chimneys. Nature had built its own city. By the second millennium BCE, the Hittites arrived. Cappadocia became a crossroads of trade routes. Assyrian merchants established colonies here, turning the region into one of Anatolia's economic centres. During the Persian era, it was called Cappadocia, the land of beautiful horses. Its reputation had begun to travel far beyond these plains. Under the Roman Empire, early Christians seeking refuge came to this rugged landscape. The soft rock became shelter. Underground cities were carved deep beneath the earth. Derinkuyu Underground City and Pamukkale Underground City were not just hiding places, they were fully functioning underground communities. Churches were carved into stone. Walls were covered with vivid frescoes. That still survive today inside the Göreme Open Air Museum. Cappadocia was no longer just a landscape, it had become a sanctuary. In the 20th century, the region was rediscovered by the modern world. Its surreal geology and layered history captured global attention. Today, Cappadocia is recognised by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. At sunrise, hundreds of hot air balloons rise quietly into the sky. They drift above a land shaped by fire, carved by wind, and protected by faith. a place where stone remembers everything. As we move away from the shadow of the fairy chimneys, the landscape begins to change. The carved valleys slowly give way to open plains. Colours start to fade. And on the horizon, a vast white emptiness appears. Tuz Golu is located in central Anatolia and is the second largest lake in Turkey. It is a closed basin, meaning its waters do not flow into the sea. During the summer months, intense evaporation causes the lake to shrink dramatically. As the water level drops, a thick layer of salt forms across the surface. Salinity levels are extremely high, and a significant portion of Turkey's salt production comes from this very lake. The surrounding region is wide, flat, and arid steppe. Rainfall is scarce. Summers are hot and dry, while winters are cold. The soil is cracked and largely barren, giving the area a landscape that feels strikingly similar to Mars. Yet even in these harsh conditions, life persists. Tuz Golu is an important bird habitat, especially as a breeding ground for flamingos. Salt-tolerant microorganisms sometimes tint the shallow waters with a soft pink hue. With its endless white salt flats and its desert-like surroundings, Tuz Golu stands as one of Turkey's most extraordinary natural landscapes. As the road climbs into the dense forests of northwestern Turkey, the atmosphere shifts once again. The dry plains are replaced by cool mountain air, and pine trees begin to close in around the horizon. Golcuk Nature Park, located near the city of Bolu, is a small volcanic crater lake surrounded by thick woodland. Unlike the vast openness of Tuz Golu, Golcuk feels intimate and enclosed, a quiet sanctuary hidden within the forest. At the heart of the lake stands a charming wooden house, reflected perfectly on the still surface of the water. Throughout the year, the scenery transforms. In spring and summer, the area is lush and vibrant, with deep green forests encircling the calm lake. In autumn, shades of red, orange, and gold blanket the hillsides. And in winter, snowfall turns the entire landscape into a peaceful white postcard. The lake is relatively small and shallow, formed by volcanic activity thousands of years ago. Today it serves as a protected nature park, offering walking paths and panoramic viewpoints while preserving its quiet, natural character. Golcuk is not dramatic or vast, it is calm. balanced and serene, a reflection of nature at rest. We leave behind the deep forests of Bolu and begin to feel the warm breath of the Aegean. And suddenly, a landscape appears that seems to defy reality. From a distance, it looks like a snow-covered mountain, or massive piles of cotton floating above the earth. But this dazzling white wonder is no illusion. This is Pamukkale, a natural masterpiece shaped patiently by water over thousands of years. Here, thermal waters rise from deep beneath the earth, rich with calcium carbonate. As the water flows, it leaves its minerals behind. Layer by layer, drop by drop, brilliant white terraces form, cascading downward like frozen waterfalls. Between them, shallow pools glow in shades of turquoise and sky blue. When you step into the warm water, you're not just touching a pool, you're touching millions of years of Earth's memory. But above this glowing white landscape, another miracle awaits. The ancient city of Hierapolis rises quietly over the terraces. Here, nature and history intertwine so seamlessly that from the steps of the ancient theatre, you can gaze out over the shining travertines below. In antiquity, people believed these waters carried healing power. They transformed this place into a vast wellness sanctuary of the ancient world. Even today, you can swim among fallen marble columns in the legendary antique pool, once used by nobles of the Roman era, and for a moment feel as if you've stepped back 2,000 years in time. As we drift down from the brilliant white terraces of Pamukkale toward the heart of the Mediterranean, nature steps onto the stage once again. Before us appears a scene that feels less like reality and more like a painter's dream. Uludeniz, still almost glass-like. The harmony between the white sand and the crystal clear water makes this one of the most extraordinary lagoons on Earth. Then we lift our gaze and the perspective shifts. From the summit of Babadar, paragliders rise and drift across the sky, revealing just how steep and dramatic this landscape truly is. From thousands of feet above, the endless turquoise below feels like pure infinity. Where the shoreline meets towering cliffs, another natural wonder waits. Kelebekli Vadisi, Butterfly Valley. Hidden between sheer rock walls, this narrow canyon comes alive in summer with delicate butterflies. You reach it by sea, and the moment you step inside, time seems to slow down. Beyond the coast, a path carrying the weight of history stretches along the horizon. Yolu, the Lycian Way. For hundreds of miles, it traces the shoreline, preserving the echoes of the ancient Lycian civilization. Rock-cut tombs, seaside ruins, and weathered stone paths whisper stories from thousands of years ago. Here, sea, sky, and history are inseparable. The calm of Olydonus, the height of Babada, the wild seclusion of Butterfly Valley, the timeless silence of the Lycian Way. This is the Mediterranean at its most free and most layered. As we move along the Lycian coast, another extraordinary landscape emerges. Kekova. This is not just an island or a quiet bay. It is an underwater museum where the blue of the Mediterranean has swallowed the depth of history. As your boat glides silently across the surface, look carefully beneath the water. There, just below the shimmering light, lie the remains of a civilization submerged by powerful earthquakes in the 2nd century AD. This is the legendary Kekova Batik Shehir, the Sunken City. Stone staircases descend into the sea. Walls of homes and shops still rise beneath the surface. In these remarkably clear waters, you can see ancient harbour stones and fragments of pottery as if you could reach down and touch them. Streets once filled with footsteps are now home to fish. Nature has reclaimed the city, sealing it beneath a veil of turquoise. Just across the water stands Kalikoi, also known as Semina. Accessible only by boat, this quiet village feels suspended in time. It is home to one of the smallest ancient theatres in the world, and to a striking Lycian sarcophagus rising directly from the sea. That lone stone tomb, standing in the water, feels like a symbol of resilience, a reminder of how many times these shores have fallen and risen again. Here, silence becomes the narrator. Only the sound of oars and water brushing against ancient stone. Kekova is a history lesson floating on the sea, fragile yet timeless. Slipping west from the narrow coves of Kekova, the landscape suddenly begins to expand. Stretching for 18 uninterrupted kilometres, one of Türkiye's most magnificent shores rises before you. Patara. This is not just a beach. With towering sand dunes sculpted by restless winds, Patara can feel like a desert at the edge of the Mediterranean. The wind moves freely here. The horizon feels endless. But beneath these shifting sands, something extraordinary still breathes. Patara was the capital of ancient Lycia, the land of light. A civilization that stood at the crossroads of East and West and changed political history forever. Passing through the monumental city gate, you step into a different era. Rising before you is one of the most remarkable structures of the ancient world. The Lycian League Assembly Hall, and widely regarded as the world's earliest known democratic parliament building. Thousands of years ago, representatives gathered here. They debated, they voted, they built a system based on shared power and civic voice. Centuries later, thinkers like Montesquieu would study this model. The spirit of constitutional democracy, echoed in modern governments, can trace inspiration back to these very stones. But Patara's story doesn't end with politics. In the 4th century, a child was born here, a boy who would later become known across the world as St. Nicholas, or simply Santa Claus. Before legend turned him into myth, he played beneath this same sun. He walked these sands. His story began here. Nearby, Roman triumphal arches still stand. And overlooking what was once a thriving harbour rises another marvel. One of the oldest known lighthouses of the ancient world, guiding ships safely home across the Mediterranean. As sunset approaches, Patara offers one final revelation. Climb the dunes, feel the winds soften. As you begin climbing the steep slopes, the air grows thinner, sharper. The wind hardens, and the world below slowly starts to shrink beneath your feet. At 2,150 metres above sea level, on one of the most commanding peaks of the Taurus Mountains, you arrive at one of Türkiye's most epic sites, the God Kings of the Mount Nemrut. Here, in the 1st century BCE, Antiochus I Theos of Commagene set out to build more than a tomb. He envisioned a monument that would unite East and West, Persian royalty and Greek deities, mortal king and immortal gods, seated side by side on the same summit. What stands here today feels almost unreal. Colossal stone heads, each weighing tons, lie scattered yet watchful. Statues of lions, eagles, ancient gods carved in solemn silence. For more than 2,000 years, these massive figures have kept vigil on this isolated peak. Battered by wind, snow, and time itself. But Nemrut's true miracle unfolds at sunrise and again at sunset. As the first light of dawn touches the stone faces, something shifts. Shadows retreat. Details emerge. The cold expressions seem to awaken, as if the gods themselves are stirring from sleep. In that moment you realize this is not merely a burial site, it is a celestial sanctuary, a place where human ambition confronts the vastness of the universe. Beneath the towering mound of crushed limestone, a massive tumulus rising behind the statues, the king's burial chamber is believed to rest. Yet what lies inside remains one of archaeology's enduring mysteries. When we reach the Euphrates, the lifeblood of Mesopotamia, a lost city emerges before us. Halfeti. When the waters rose, the old settlement quietly slipped beneath the river's surface. Today, as you glide across the calm waters by boat, it's impossible not to imagine what lies below. Homes once filled with voices, streets once walked every day, courtyards where children once played. And then you see it, a submerged minaret piercing the water like a spear, rising toward the sky. A silent symbol that Halfeti is still breathing beneath the surface. But Halfeti is more than a town lost to water. This land is also known for something found nowhere else in the world: the black rose. In the unique climate shaped by the Euphrates River, these roses bloom in a deep, velvety shade so dark they appear almost black. Yet when taken to another soil, they change colour, as if bound to the very land where they were born. Above the river, the massive walls of Pamukkale rise from the cliffs, a reminder that this region has long been a strategic stronghold shaped by centuries of conflict and resilience. Halfeti. A city submerged beneath the water, yet a story whose memory still rises to the surface. As you enter this ancient land, where shades of yellow and brown stretch beneath a relentless sun, you realise you are not stepping into a city, but into a time tunnel. Before you stands Gobekli Tepe, often called the 0 point of human history. Until just a few decades ago, we believed that agriculture came first, that humans settled down, began farming, and only then built temples. But Gobekli Tepe changed everything. With its 12,000-year-old monumental stone pillars, this site overturned long-standing theories about the origins of civilization. It is more than 6,000 years older than Stonehenge and nearly 7,500 years older than the pyramids of Giza pyramids. In other words, long before humanity fully mastered agriculture, we carved our beliefs into stone. As you walk between the massive T-shaped pillars, the carvings seem almost alive. Foxes, scorpions, wild boars, cranes, symbols from a world 12 millennia old. How hunter-gatherers, armed with only primitive tools, transported these multi-ton stones and shaped them with such precision remains one of archaeology's enduring mysteries. Gobekli Tepe reveals something extraordinary. Early humans were not merely struggling to survive. They were observing the sky. They were organising space. They were seeking meaning. Some researchers suggest that the alignment of these stones reflects an awareness of the heavens. A desire to understand the cosmos long before written language existed. Standing on this wind-swept hill near Sanliurfa, overlooking the fertile plains of Mesopotamia, one realization settles in: civilization did not begin with cities. It began with belief. And beneath these silent pillars, the first chapters of human history still wait to be fully understood. As the pillars of Gobekli Tepe tell the story of human belief, the ancient plain we now turn toward tells a different story, one of intelligence, adaptation, and harmony with nature. This is Harran. On the horizon, the first shapes that rise into view resemble giant beehives. These are Harran's famous beehive houses. With their cone-shaped roofs and mud brick walls, they are more than simple shelters. They are a practical response to the harsh climate of Mesopotamia. Built from sun-dried earth, these dome structures keep the interior cool under the blazing summer heat and retain warmth during the colder months. They reflect a deep understanding of environment, architecture shaped by necessity. But Harran is more than its remarkable homes. For centuries, it stood as an important centre of learning in the region. Here, scholars observe the stars, translated classical, philosophical texts, and advanced studies in mathematics and medicine. The renowned astronomer El-Battani worked in this intellectual tradition, contributing observations that would influence scientific thought far beyond these plains. The city is also known as the birthplace of the scholar Ibn Taymiyyah. Today, as you walk through Harran's narrow streets, the mud brick walls seem to carry echoes of that long history. This is a place that reminds us civilization is not built by stone alone, but by ideas, inquiry, and knowledge. As the sun sets over the beehive houses and shadows stretch across the plain, Harran stands not merely as a settlement, but as a quiet testament to the enduring roots of human heritage. After the beehive houses of Harran, we find ourselves inside a train compartment crossing the vast Anatolian steppe, mile by mile. The Do Expressi is more than a railway line, it is a journey through time. From the heart of Turkey to its far eastern edge. Beyond the window, snow-covered mountains drift past. Frozen rivers, isolated villages. With every passing mile, the landscape prepares you for a winter story unfolding in silence. At the end of the line, the city of Kars emerges. But Kars does not resemble the Anatolian towns you may expect. Its wide avenues, grid-like streets, and imposing buildings carved from dark basalt stone can make you feel, for a moment, as though you have stepped into an old Russian city. The Baltic architectural influence, austere, dignified, and symmetrical, blends with the city's famous crystal snow, creating an atmosphere both cold and captivating. Yet the true treasure of Kars lies just beyond the city, along a silent borderland. There, on a windswept plateau, stand the ruins of Ani Ruins. Once known as the City of 1,001 Churches and the City of the World, Ani was among the wealthiest crossroads of the Silk Road. Today, it rests beside the Arpacai River, directly on the border with Armenia, a place where the wind is often the only sound. Under falling snow, the Ebul Manucher Mosque rises in quiet solitude. Cathedrals cling to the edge of dramatic cliffs. Broken city walls stretch across the white landscape. Walking through Ani, you witness how civilizations are born, flourish, and eventually return to the earth. And when evening falls in cars, tasting the region's famous goose, while sitting by a warm fireplace, watching the shimmer of crystal snow outside, you're reminded of something larger. Turkey is vast, it is diverse, it is full of contrasts, yet somehow all of it is connected, like chapters of a single, enduring story. After leaving behind the crystal snow of cars and the deep silence of the east, we arrive at the final crossroads of our journey. Before us stands not just a city, but a place that has shaped the center of the world for more than 2,500 years. Istanbul. This is where continents almost touch, where Europe and Asia face one another across a narrow, restless strait. Istanbul is where Turkey's contrasts converge. On one side, the ancient walls of Byzantium still rise in quiet defiance. On the other, modern glass towers pierce the skyline. Step into the historic peninsula and time seems to slow. Beneath the vast dome of Hagia Sophia, centuries of prayers and whispers linger in the air. Just across the square, the 6 minarets of the Blue Mosque reach toward the sky, shaping the city's silhouette with quiet authority. Inside Topkapi Palace, narrow corridors once carried the weight of an empire. Yet what truly defines Istanbul is the Bosphorus. The shimmering waterway that does not divide two continents, but binds them together. Ferries glide across its surface as seagulls trace the wind above. Ottoman waterfront mansions line the shore, carrying both elegance and memory. Crossing from one continent to the other takes only minutes here. But each crossing feels like stepping into another world. Even Istanbul's chaos moves with its own rhythm. The scent of grilled fish near Eminönü blends with the spices drifting through the vaulted passages of the Grand Bazaar. From the heights of Galata Tower, the city unfolds in every direction, revealing why it was once called the capital of empires. Istanbul is not merely a city. It is a convergence of east and west, of past and future, of stillness and motion. It is not just a place on the map, it is a world of its own. Leaving Istanbul behind and driving just a few hours to the north, you arrive at one of the most magnificent stages in human history. This is not just an ancient city, it was the New York of its time, a colossal metropolis, the beating heart of art, culture, and trade. Ephesus. The moment you step onto its famous marble streets, you can't help but wonder how many millions of footsteps these stones have carried over thousands of years. Rising before you in all its grandeur stands the Library of Celsus, a masterpiece of architecture that silently declares how sacred knowledge once was. Stand inside the Great Theatre, where 25,000 people once applauded at the same time. And as you look toward the stage, the wind still seems to carry the whispers of ancient performances. Walking through Ephesus feels like stepping into the living pages of history. The mosaics in the hillside terrace houses still glow with colour. The marble streets still shine beneath the sun. And in the shadow of the Temple of Artemis, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, Ephesus reveals the farthest limits of human genius carved in stone. This is not just a ruin. This is Turkey's leading role on the stage of history, where grandeur, intelligence, and beauty were transformed into marble. If the grandeur of Ephesus was carved into marble, the soul of Mardin is etched into warm, golden limestone. From a distance, the city looks like a massive ship anchored at the edge of the Mesopotamian plain, or an eagle's nest clinging to the cliffs above an endless horizon. But once you step inside, you realize you're not walking through a city. You're moving through a living work of art. In Mardin, there are no ordinary streets. There are abaras, hidden stone passages, and shadowed tunnels that whisper stories from centuries past. Look up, and you see a neighbour's courtyard. Look down, and the vast emptiness of Mesopotamia stretches beyond sight. Here, houses are built so they never block each other's sunlight. Because in Mardin, the sun belongs to everyone. At the highest point of the city rises the Kasimiye Madrasa. Step into its courtyard and you witness how stone transforms into philosophy. A small pool of flowing water tells the story of human life. Birth, youth, maturity, and finally, as it spills into the larger basin, death and eternity. In Mardin, stone is not merely a building material, it is a language. A language that speaks of existence itself. As the sun sets, Mardin reveals its true identity. Golden walls turn crimson. The wind from the plains carries the scent of fresh basil through the narrow alleys. For thousands of years, the call to prayer has intertwined with the ringing of church bells. The aroma of Syriac wine has mingled with the rhythmic hammering of silver filigree masters. And when night falls, Mardin offers its final surprise. From above, the city lights shimmer like stars scattered across the earth. From the plains below, it looks like a sky turned upside down. This is Mardin, Turkey's most poetic, most dignified and most timeless destination. When you enter Sanliurfa, known as the City of Prophets, the air grows heavy with the scent of spices and ancient prayers. In the heart of the city, you suddenly find yourself standing at the center of a miracle told for thousands of years. Balikligol. According to legend, this is where the prophet Abraham was cast into a raging fire by the tyrant Nimrod. But faith transformed the flames. The massive fire turned into cool water, and the burning logs became sacred fish. Today, as you stand by the edge of the pool, the deep emerald colour of the water and the carp gliding peacefully beneath the surface remind you of something profound. That this land was built not only from stone and soil, but from miracles. Surrounding the pool, the Halil-ur-Rahman Mosque and centuries-old plane trees cast their shadows gently across the water, creating a scene that feels almost painted by hand. In the scorching heat of Urfa, this place becomes a harbour of calm. Just beside it lies the pool of Ain Zeliha, a quiet body of water said to represent the sorrowful tears within the legend itself. But this sacred complex is more than a place to visit. It is the purest expression of the East's mystical spirit. The ringing sounds of copper craftsmen echo from the nearby bazaars. The aroma of freshly roasted isot pepper drifts through the air, and yet the stillness of the water remains untouched. Here, time does not move according to the clocks of the modern world. It flows instead with the rhythm of the call to prayer. And the cadence of ancient stories. Balikligol stands as eternal proof that even the fiercest fire can transform into a garden of peace. When your journey reaches Lycian, nature welcomes you with a labyrinth unlike any other. This is neither fully land nor fully sea. It is a mysterious waterway where the two embrace each other in perfect harmony. As your small boat slips quietly into the reeds, you find yourself drifting through towering green walls. The world narrows. Sound softens. Time slows. And then you look up. High above the river, carved into sheer cliffs, as if reaching closer to the sky, stand the Kaunos rock tombs. Temple-like facades cut into solid stone. Watching over this silent water for more than 2,000 years. How ancient builders carved those monumental tombs into such steep rock faces remains an engineering mystery to this day. They stand there still, defiant, silent, eternal. As your boat emerges from the maze of reeds, the landscape opens suddenly to Istuzu Beach. A narrow ribbon of golden sand, with fresh water on one side and the salt water of the Mediterranean on the other. For millions of years, this fragile strip of sand has been the sacred nesting ground of the caretta sea turtles. Here, life begins quietly beneath the moonlight. Lycian is more than a destination. It is one of Turkey's most peaceful breathing spaces. A place where nature reveals both its protection and its grandeur at the very same time. Yet the landscape of this country does not only calm you, sometimes it astonishes you. It can hide you among emerald reeds and quiet waterways. And then, without warning, place you on what feels like the surface of another planet. In the heart of the Konya Plain, there is a place that seems almost unearthly. Golu. This is a volcanic crater lake. Thousands of years ago, an eruption carved a deep crater into the earth. Over time, it filled with water. Then, a second eruption rose from within, forming a smaller volcanic cone at the center of the lake. That is why Meek is one of the rare crater lakes in the world, with an island born of fire. Crimson soil, black lava traces, white salt layers. When the water recedes, the landscape begins to resemble the surface of Mars. In dry years, the lake shrinks. The sharp volcanic contours grow more defined. In a single frame, nature tells a geological story millions of years in the making. And standing before it, you don't just feel like a visitor. You feel like an explorer on Earth, yet somewhere far beyond it. Throughout this journey, not a single place we encountered was just a view. Every stone we saw, every climate we breathed, every street we walked through proclaimed why these lands are far more than a country. Türkiye is not merely a bridge, a crossroads, or a shape on a map. It is where the entire adventure of humanity, the full contrast of nature and the layered depth of time unite under one flag and one spirit. Here, the fierce waves of the north meet the tranquil blues of the south. The modern face of the west shakes hands with the ancient wisdom of the east. Within a matter of hours, you can move from one season to another. And in doing so, step across entire chapters of human history. In this land, history does not fit inside museums. It lives on in the fields, in the streets, in the deepest seas, and on the highest mountain peaks. So what is the force that holds so many contrasts together? The answer lies in the spirit of these lands. It is patience carved into the cliffs of Sumela Monastery. It is freedom carried by the winds of Kackar Mountains. It is curiosity rising from the stones of Gobeklitepe. It is tolerance woven through the streets of Mardin. And it is grandeur standing tall in Istanbul. This is a homeland where many languages echo. Yet everyone shares a love for the same soil. And when the journey comes to an end, we realize something profound. To travel Türkiye is to travel the world. This is not just a nation. It is a microplanet with its own rules, its own ecosystems, and its own endless story. Each day, the sun rises over one of the richest legacies on Earth. And as long as the stones remain and the waters continue to flow, this story will never truly end. This is Türkiye. The extraordinary land where the world fits within its borders.